The high will be near 85 degrees. Again, expect windy conditions with gusts up to 30 miles per hour, decreasing to and about around 20 miles per hour starting tomorrow morning. Then on Thursday night, we can expect the chance of rain to decrease to only 70%. The low will be around 74 degrees. Look for wind velocity ranging from 15 miles per hour to possibly 30 miles per hour. Now let's go ahead and take a look at road conditions from public safety. Traffic advisors say an accident at Interstate 55 and Furnish Road with no injuries. And don't forget, coming up in just a matter of minutes, we'll have a live interview with meteorologist Edward St. Pay. Now let's go to the news desk.
Now topping the news, Isaac is losing some of its strength and has been downgraded to a tropical storm as it trudges inland over Louisiana. Still, the first confirmed death attributed to Hurricane Isaac in Louisiana was reported in Vermilion Parish. Sheriff Mike Kuvalon says a 36-year-old man had gone to help two friends move a vehicle from under a tree to prepare for Isaac on Tuesday and fell to his death after climbing 18 feet up the tree. Also for now, Isaac has top sustained winds of 70 miles per hour, just below the hurricane threshold of 74 miles per hour. The storm is about 50 miles west-southwest of New Orleans, pounding the area with drenching rains and fierce winds. City officials are imposing a dusk to dawn curfew in New Orleans beginning today because of downed power lines and unsafe conditions. In the Metro Jackson area, forecasters say Isaac will continue its impact on the area through early Thursday. Residents should expect high wind with rain accumulations from 3 to 6 inches. Flooding and the potential of tornadoes remain a threat as well. As school buses and other motorists prepare to roll Thursday morning, gusts could be as high as 20 miles per hour in the morning before later building up to 30 miles per hour. From Jackson State University, the campus will issue an update shortly as to whether JSU will be open tomorrow. Please continue to monitor jsums.edu and local media for updates. From Jackson Public Schools, due to expected inclement weather for Thursday, the JPS Department of Athletics announces the following changes on their prep football schedule. Murrah versus Provine, originally scheduled for tomorrow at Hughes Field, will be played Friday at Hughes Field at 7:30 p.m. Also, Raymond versus Wingfield, originally scheduled for Friday at Hughes Field, will still be played Friday, but at North Jackson Field at 7:30 p.m. In other areas of Mississippi, utility companies say more than 24,000 South Mississippi homes have lost power as Hurricane Isaac moves through the northern Gulf of Mexico. Most of the outages today are in areas of the 3 coastal counties of Jackson, Harrison, and Hancock. In other storm-hit areas, Louisiana's Republican Governor Bobby Jindal, who canceled his trip to the GOP convention in Tampa, Florida because of the storm, says the Obama administration's disaster declaration fell short of the federal help he had requested. Jindal says he wanted a promise from the federal government to be reimbursed for storm preparation costs. FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate says such request will be addressed after the storm. Also, St. Bernard Parish President David Peralta says that as soon as the storm subsides, his crews will be working with the Coast Guard and those from Plaquemines Parish to help rescue people trapped by the flooding.
They've probably got 10 to 12 feet of water in the areas where we're going right now. We're also working with the United States Coast Guard. They're committing assets as well to come in from the riverside. We're going to come in from our parish, which adjoins Plaquemines Parish.
In addition, Mississippi schools along the Gulf Coast are expected to decide whether to play football Friday night. Here to discuss the storm is meteorologist Edward St. Pay, who appears on television stations throughout the Southeast. Welcome back to the studio, Edward.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here.
Along with what we previously reported, what can our area expect?
Well, yesterday we were talking about we were going to get rain today all day, and what happened overnight is the storm came in last night. It hit Plaquemines Parish, and then the eye slowly moved through the wee hours across the actual the New Orleans area. Then it took sort of a westward shift, and that put it just far enough away from us through these last hours to keep us out of the rain zone. If you've noticed on the radar today, the big swirl of rain on radar ended just about at I-20.
Right.
And everything south of that was getting a lot of rain. and we didn't. But now it's moved so slowly through the day. This morning, when it was actually moving in across, Homa, it's right now. It's 30 miles south of Baton Rouge. It hasn't moved much at all. It's moving west-northwest at 5, and the winds are down to 70. So it's a tropical storm now. And so,
but that sounds like bad news when it remains stagnant.
It is. It's bad news for the folks who are getting flooded. Rain. It's not moving, so it's staying there and just drenching the ground. So southeast Louisiana, I think some locations have gotten, and so southeast in the coastal Mississippi area, up to maybe between 15 and 20 inches of rain. And so now it's moving west-northwestward. So tonight is when we're going to see the rains pick up for our area, and probably somewhere in the 5-inch total for our area. Meanwhile, Hattiesburg is probably going to get 10 inches, in some locations. But we'll probably end up with 5 inches with gusty winds. So for tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night, that's when the rain event's going to begin. So it's going to be very wet for tomorrow and very windy.
How serious still would you say that we have for the threat of power outages?
Well, I think we've been pretty lucky so far, in central Mississippi. We haven't really seen the brunt of it yet, though. Even down in the southern portion of the state, it's been fairly, from what I understand, not so bad. It's been much worse in Louisiana. South Louisiana, I think there's hundreds of thousands of homes out right now. So, but our situation, it really hasn't gotten here yet, So our situation is going to be tonight and tomorrow night. And so let me just go with the windfall. The winds for tonight will be gusting to 30 miles per hour. For tomorrow, 35 miles per hour from the southeast. And tomorrow night, again, about 30 miles per hour. So we're not going to see tremendous winds, but we're going to see, gusts of 35 can do damage. And the rainfall is going to be significant. Even if it's 4 inches, that's a lot of rain to get, in a couple of days.
Well, you mentioned our area with the delay. We mentioned the possibility of violent weather, such as twisters or tornadoes. Talk about this threat and still the rising waters that might plague our area.
Well, we have definitely the prospect of tornadoes. Anytime you have this type of tropical weather and severe thunderstorms, which we probably will see some of that. I hadn't really gotten reports through the day today of a lot of tornadic activity. It's not been, widespread. So, I'm hoping that we'll have the same situation. We're on the far side of it, and so we're getting the feeder bands up, and a lot of those feeder bands that have been moving this far north seem to be rain, moderate rain, and every now and then you'll get a stream of very, very strong thunderstorms, but it's not pervasive. It's not happening. All of it's not really that bad. So, I'm thinking that we'll be okay. I think we're going to get some heavy rain. We might have a thunderstorm or two that's significant. And winds, 30, 35 gusts, that's not so bad. In Morgan City, Louisiana, down there, we do weather for that station daily, and they're getting 90-mile-per-hour gusts tonight, so...
I heard earlier that some of the people in the New Orleans area seem to be suffering more than they were 7 years ago during Hurricane Katrina because of the flooding. Can you speak to that?
Well, it's the rain. This system has more rainfall, believe it or not, than Katrina had, which is hard to imagine, but that was a Category 5. This is Category 1. But the reason why is because it's not moving. It's just stationary, and the downpours won't move. They're just staying in one place. So, yeah, they're having problems down there. They've had some rescues and stuff today in Plaquemines Parish. People were trapped and different things.
And then we had those levees that broke, so that was part of the problem. And they were supposed to open up some of the barriers so that the water can sort of seep through.
And from reports that we've seen, the levees are still holding right now.
Right, they're doing real well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Edward, can you describe to us what we're looking at on our MDOT cam from Interstate 10 and US 90 about how fast you think these winds are jostling around?
Well, that's down on the coast. It's the winds right now down there are still at 70 miles per hour as far as, right around the center of the storm. So, where that location is compared to where the eye is now, which is 35 miles from south of Baton Rouge, they're probably getting I would say the winds are probably coming in from the south, southwest, something like that. And I would imagine they've got sustained winds of 60 miles per hour, 65 miles per hour, in gusts higher than that. Maybe gusts of 80 and 90 miles per hour. Just looking at it, I mean, I'd say that the sustained winds, aside from the gusts, are probably in that area. 40, 50 miles per hour at least.
Briefly, can you tell us anything that we should be concerned about, anything else we should be worried about?
Well, I think that really we made it so far so good. Today was a very light day compared to what we were thinking. And then because the system is moving west, northwest, it's moving, the westerly component is bringing it away from us. And so I think that, but it is moving northwest too, right? So as it moves northward, it's getting closer to being on a parallel line with us. So that's why the rains are going to pick up tonight and tomorrow. And so, heavy rain event, heavy wind event. But right now, I think that other than that, we're in good shape. Once we get into tomorrow afternoon, by tomorrow night, things should be starting to move in a better direction. And by Friday, there's only a 30% chance for showers.
Okay.
So by Friday, we should be in a lot better shape, maybe even sunshine returning.
All right. Well, that is great to know. Thank you so much. That was meteorologist Edward St. Pé. Now let's take a quick break. We will return shortly with more of the News Now update.
Here on the News Now update, and also headlining the news as we have done each day this week, we turn our attention to the Republican National Convention in Tampa, Florida. Once again, joining us via telephone is WFSU News Director Tremel Gomes, who is with our NPR affiliate sister station at Florida State University, which is located in Tallahassee. Tremel is providing daily coverage for WJSU, and so hello again, Tremel.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a blast. We speak again.
Wow, we are so privileged to have you with us again. Now, last night was a big night for Ann Romney and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Here is what Ann Romney said last night.
At every turn in his life, this man I met at a high school dance has helped lift up others. He did it with the Olympics when many wanted to give up. He did it in Massachusetts, where he guided the state from economic crisis to unemployment of just 4.7%.
Tremel, having listened to Ann Romney, is there any word on crowd reactions to the speeches by Ann as well as New Jersey Governor Chris Christie?
Yes. To the bite that you played, many people reacted to how heartfelt she came across. She was very warm. She didn't really touch on anything hard, or she wasn't abrasive. She spoke like, this is who Mitt is, and this is why you should get to know him. And she even touched on, her relationship, how they met. So she was more appealing to the heart and pulling on the heartstrings. Meanwhile, on the opposite end, Chris Christie was more aggressive, talking about he's the man to come in and get things done. So it was a big contrast last night. And the contrast, as you know, the schedule was adjusted because of Tropical Storm Isaac. Now a hurricane back to being a tropical storm. So he wasn't really supposed to speak and go right after her. So that's how the scheduling turned out, to have that big contrast in that one night.
Yeah, I was amazed at the timing when Romney's name actually came into Chris Christie's speech, and you were saying the love versus respect. There was a big difference in the two, so that was pretty interesting.
Tremel, this is Meredith Hairston, co-anchor for the update. Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida says he's looking forward to tonight's speech by Vice Presidential nominee Paul Ryan at the convention, courtesy of CBS This Morning.
I just can't wait for tonight, because I think people are going to get to meet Paul Ryan the way I've gotten to know him in the time I've been in Washington and when I was a candidate. This is a serious policy thinker. This is a guy who's in politics for the right reasons. And I think at this time tomorrow, he's going to have a bunch of new fans across this country.
Tremel, it is the biggest moment of his political career. Are convention goers or spectators saying anything about tonight's keynote speaker, Vice Presidential nominee Paul Ryan?
Yes, they are. Everyone's excited to see him, hear from him. This is his chance to, speak to the nation. Many people really don't know who he is, and there's a lot of anticipation for what he has to say tonight.
Okay, and I'm going to switch over to Condoleezza Rice now. She is among prominent African Americans taking center stage now. She addresses the conference tonight, and she was in the news lately saying that U.S. policy on Syria has been ineffective.
When the President of the United States says Assad must go, and then nothing happens to make Assad go, our credibility is at stake, and we have a problem.
Now, what have you observed about diversity, including women, at this year's event?
Well, Condoleezza Rice, her purpose tonight is more so to talk up foreign policy and make the contrast between the Obama administration and what Mitt Romney will have to offer. She's going to be teaming up on that with John McCain to make that point. Now, as far as diversity, it's not a lot is going on. Like, diversity, there's a big problem with diversity as far as African Americans in the Republican Party, and talking to a few officials in the Republican Party, that's something that they say they want to work on, and they're working on to try and reach out and get more inclusion from the African Americans into their party.
Are you expecting anything else exciting to occur this evening, or heard of unusual developments or newsworthy topics coming from the convention floor or outside?
Outside, there's going to be protests going on. I think I know of one going on probably right now that's supposed to take a satirical look at the Romney administration to the basic rights of people. So protests have been going on all day. People are around the convention center as you walk in. You have to pass them. You can't not notice them. But that's the scene today, and I'm expecting, I'm more looking forward to seeing how this will go next week for the Democrats when they hold their convention.
All right. Well, that's a lot of great information, Tremel. Thank you so much for joining us once again today.
One more note, if you would like to follow up, you can follow me on Twitter at TrimelG, at Trimel, TRIMMELG, and you'll find me there, and I'll be posting some updates to help out where I can.
Okay, now repeat that one more time for us.
TrimelG, TRIMMELG. That's my Twitter handle.
Okay. All right, folks, that's it. And you have been listening to WFSU News Director Tremel Gomes of Florida State University, which is located in Tallahassee. Tremel is at the GOP convention in Tampa, Florida, and providing coverage for us. And that's going to do it. We're going to take a quick break. We will return shortly with more of the News Now Update.
Welcome back to the News Now Update. Before moving to stories in the Magnolia State, we have received word that Jackson State University will resume normal business hours at noon tomorrow. Again, that's Jackson State University will resume normal business hours at noon tomorrow. Now turning to other stories in the Magnolia State and the region. The Army Corps of Engineers says dredging is continuing along the Mississippi River, where drought conditions have threatening river levels. Vicksburg District Corps spokesman Kavanaugh Brazil says the low water conditions and decreased river flow drastically affect normal sediment movement and make normal dredging extremely difficult.
Also in the news, the Jackson City Council has canceled two big meetings set for tomorrow due to the weather. The first, set for 10 a.m., was to discuss the council's investigation into Retro Metro, and that is the firm in charge of the Metro Center relocation project. And at 11 a.m., the council's budget committee had planned to vote on the 2013 city budget.
In news from Washington, D.C., the Federal Reserve says the U.S. economy expanded at a moderate pace in July and early August, buoyed by stronger retail sales. The Fed report said 9 of its 12 districts reported growth that was modest or moderate and pointed to strength in tourism, although manufacturing was generally described as weaker.
And in other political news, the crowds may be smaller and the candidate grayer, but college towns are still proving to be President Barack Obama's best chance to draw an enthusiastic audience. Now, more than 25,000 people showed up during his 3-state college town tour this week, including 7,500 at a rally at a pavilion near the University of Virginia today. Now, the crowds at the outdoor rallies underscore the Obama campaign's efforts to target college students as they return to school and re-energize a constituency that was critical in propelling Obama to the White House in 2008.
And in other national news, more than 24 school districts across South Dakota have shut down early with temperatures above 100 degrees. Eureka Superintendent Bo Beck says the safety and welfare of students and staff members is a major factor. His district and others dismissed a few hours early today because classrooms lack air conditioning.
Now turning to finance news, slightly better economic growth and stronger housing sales are giving stocks a slight push in midday trading. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 4 points to 13,107 shortly before noon today, and the Standard & Poor's 500 index is up 2 points to 1,411, while the NASDAQ Composite is up 1 point to 3,078. And that is going to do it for your business news today. I am L.A. Warren.
And I'm Meredith Hairston. Now let's take a look at JSU campus news, after which we will return with Spotlight and Entertainment.
In which we're going to discuss the firing of Yahoo News Washington bureau chief for making an inappropriate comment about Mitt Romney and his wife, Ann. Now, here's Courtney.